Hello and welcome back to our Lord of the Rings LCG solo progression series. And today's quest is Breaking of the Fellowship, which is the third scenario in the Road Darkens Deluxe expansion. And this is the 6 out of 18 total scenarios in the Lord of the Rings saga. A quick reminder, in this series we're playing through each quest in chronological order of the game's initial release, and we'll only be using player cards that were available at the time of this quest release. I'm calling this deck Not All Those Who Wander Are Lost, a famous line from Tolkien's poem about Aragorn. And so we're actually going to be using Gandalf for the first time, the hero, the Grey Wanderer. And so I've always sort of thought about Grey Wanderer, and it seems like it has a negative connotation to me a little bit, like it sounds sort of listless. In fact, wanderer is defined as a person who travels aimlessly, but this is a location control deck, and so in this case, we want to actually wander. We want to travel from location to location and try to avoid the Uruk-hai in this quest. So when I got to this quest, I thought I wanted to build a Gandalf deck because he came out here in the Road Darkens, and I hadn't used him in what would make the most sense, Journey in the Dark, but I just felt like the other deck was a better option than any Gandalf deck I could think of. So as I started building the deck, I kind of created this odd deck that's way different than anything I've ever built, and I really enjoyed it because it's a lot of encounter deck manipulation and player card or player deck manipulation. So I just really enjoy the methodical nature of this, and I usually win in about 10 rounds of one. Just to verify the deck works, I just won 5 in a row and thought, okay, we'll mark this as done. But a few new cards, which is cool. Gandalf came out in the Road Darkens. He is a neutral hero, 14 threat, 3 willpower, 3 attack, 3 defense, and 5 health. And I'll read his text later. And then Idrine. Now I'm pronouncing that, I think, correctly. This is a unique FFG creation. She's not a character from the books, but Gilrine is. That's Aragorn's mother. And so assuming it's pronounced Idrine, but she is a Dunedain Ranger Scout, spirit hero, 11 threat, 2 willpower, 3 attack, 2 defense, and 4 health. And she has a response, which is great for any location control deck. After a location is explored, ready Idrine. And readying is very important. So we actually have 3 copies of Miravor, which is new to my channel, as well as Limbos, which also readies, and then, of course, Unexpected Courage, and then her response. So we're going to try to ready our heroes and let them do all the combat for us. Have a few allies, most notably Saruman. Bilbo is for grabbing the Wizard Pipe. Westfold Horsebreeder for grabbing Asphaloth. Gandalf's Staff is new. Like I said, Limbos is new, as is Miravor, for me at least. Warden of Arnor is new. Wizard Pipe is new. And then I don't often use a Watchful Peace. I think I've used it once before, maybe in the Nightmare We Must Await Our Break of Day. Let's get to the quest and see how we do. Okay, opening hand is not really good, so let's go ahead and mulligan. And I'd like to see a Seeing Stone. This ensures that we'll have an opening Power of Orthanc if we need it. Okay, so we, of course, in the saga, we get to use the Ringbearer Fellowship version of Frodo Baggins, but I actually don't want to use this one, and you're allowed to do this. You can use any Fellowship Sphered Ringbearer type card, and so, of course, that's going to be Frodo, but we're going to use the Frodo from the Black Riders because his response is going to be helpful in this quest. So I'm just going to delete this card and then go here to Spawn Card and look up Frodo, and we'll use the Black Riders version. And of course, the One Ring attaches to the Ring Bearer, and he follows a first player token, and if the One Ring ever leaves play, we lose the game. And Frodo's response, just as a quick reminder from the Black Riders, is we can spend a Fellowship resource and exhaust the One Ring to cancel the effects of an encounter card just revealed from the encounter deck, shuffle that card back into the encounter deck, and reveal another card. So this can just keep us from maybe dealing with, there's an enemy in particular that I like to use this on. If one comes out, it's worth trying. This one surges, and so there can be surge trains where there's just 3 of them, but when this one comes out, I'll a lot of times push it back into the deck. Sometimes Uruk-hai Hunter I'd want to do that with, but mostly just enemies. Okay, so our opening hand, let me just organize it here. We do have some readying. This is why I included Miravor And Limboss I can't always play when I want to right out of the gate. And so Unexpected Courage, we can't just rely on Unexpected Courage. All right, so the Great River says, having barely escaped from Moria, the company of the Ring flees into the Forest of Lorien, where they are welcomed by the elves of the Golden Wood and supplied with boats and other gifts by their lord and lady, Celeborn and Galadriel. Then, after a brief rest, they set out upon the river Anduin. For setup, we set Frodo's Choice, Seat of Scene, and Parth Galen aside out of play. Here is Frodo's Choice, Seat of Scene, and Parth Galen. And now we add the Argonath and Sarngabir to the staging area. Here's the Argonath. It is a threat of X, which is defined as the number of players in the game. It's immune to player card effects. We can't travel here until Sarngabir leaves play. When we do finally travel here, we would skip the combat phase when it is the active location. Our Sarngabir is immune to player card effects. It says force when Sarngabir is explored, deal 1 damage to each exhausted character. So it's a series of rapids. In fact, just for, in my mind, this way is north. Left is usually kind of more north than right would be. And so we're coming down the river. We travel through the Sarngabir rapids, and then we make it to the Argonath, and then eventually we get to the Uruk-hai that are amassing here. So I like that when we get through this, anybody that's exhausted from exerting themselves is going to be slightly damaged. So we have to clear Sarngabir, then the Argonath, and we'll see here on side B, we have to make 12 progress, and just beautiful art to me. I love the simplicity and the colors of that. So the company went on their long way down the wide, hurrying waters, borne ever southwards. Bare woods stalked along either bank, and they could not see any glimpse of the lands behind. For enemies at this stage, they will get +2 defense. And it says they cannot be engaged. We skip the encounter phase. So we skip the encounter phase, so no optional engagement, no engagement checks. And additionally, enemies just cannot be engaged, period. So any enemy that comes out is going to be stuck in staging, a little bit like Into the Pit, maybe. And so again, we're on the river, and so the enemies can't engage us. We go through Sarngabir Rapids, we clear the Argonath, and then you'll see, but then suddenly we will be attacked by any enemies that built up. And the +2 matters at this stage in case you had attack that allows you to attack enemies in staging. It's trying to keep us from cheesing our way using Done Here or Haldir of Lorien or even Hands Upon the Bow or something like that. Okay, so refresh or resource phase. I always say refresh. And let's look at Gandalf. It says, we're in the resource phase. Play with the top card of your deck face up. So we get to do that. All the cards are face down except the top card. It's flipped face up. And it says once per phase, you may play the top card of your deck as if it was in your hand. And so this is our hand, but we can consider this to be in our hand as well. And so if it was a spirit card, I could spend resources from heroes besides Gandalf to pay for it. But it does say that when we're playing a card in this manner, Gandalf is considered to have all the resource icons, and so he can pay for lore. That's how we're able to pay for Asphaloth, and you can see here for Limboss. That's kind of out of the sphere of the other cards. So the reality is, at this point, I can't play Asphaloth during the resource phase. I can do it once per phase, but it's a attachment. Can't play attachments during planning. So what I'm going to do here is go ahead and just play during the resource phase, during the action window in it. Let's play the Scene Stone, Doomed 1. Action, search your deck for a card with a Doomed keyword and add it to your hand. So Doomed 1, I'll flip this card face down just so that it's not shuffled back in face up. And we're going to look for a very important card to this deck called Power of Orthanc, and we'll draw it into our hand. And now we have a new face-up card, and it is Asphaloth. Sometimes I will take that action, and the face-up card is a second copy of Scene Stone, and I could actually do Gandalf's once per phase, and it just helps me thin my deck out a little bit. So in a sense, Gandalf really does act as card draw. But again, I can't play Asphaloth during this resource phase, so we'll skip ahead to the planning phase. Okay, so we will consider what we want to do. I don't necessarily want to pay 2 resources. Oh, and by the way, it was worth mentioning why I want Power of Orthanc. there is a card that can ruin your day. There's one copy, one of the more nutty ones in the game. It's Fallen into Evil, which is sort of depicts the part of the story where Boromir attacks Frodo. And so momentarily our heroes, this can be attached to a hero. The hero is now an enemy and moves to the staging area. And all we have to do is discard the condition for the hero to come back to us. And so we have 3 copies of Power of War. I think it's overkill, but between my 3 copies of the Scene Stone and 3 copies of Power of War, I'm assured that I'll have one just in case this comes out in stage 1 or round 1. Okay, we're in planning, and I cannot. Well, I could play Asphaloth if I did something crazy. So I could play Miravor and then discard it and get a resource on Gandalf, but it's not worth it to play Asphaloth so soon anyway. So what I'm going to do for now is, just in case I do need readying, let's just pay for Miravor. It's cheaper than Unexpected Courage. Attached to a hero, and we can take an action, discard Miravor to choose 2 of the following. And always I'll ready the attached hero as one of the options. The other would be to add a resource to the attached hero's resource pool. Attached hero could get +1 willpower until the end of the round, or we could put Miravor on top of the deck. I don't need too much readying. By the time I get Limbus out and Unexpected Courage, this is just an early game card, really. Okay, so between the Miravor and the Limbus, we are definitely hooked up by Galadriel to travel to Mordor. Okay, so we have some readying, which is good. Gandalf is our defender. And I have some more resources here, but I'm not going to spend them. I don't want to, I wanted to leave this resource on Gandalf so the next round potentially I could pay for Asphaloth. I'm just tempted to maybe do this, to just go ahead and get Asphaloth out. Let's do it. We'll discard Miravor. We're taking this action. And what we'll do is we're not going to ready the attached hero. We're going to give the attached hero an extra resource. And then we're going to give him an extra willpower until the end of the round. And we discard this. So that willpower exists until the end of the round. Now, Gandalf can use his once per phase during the planning phase to play the top card of our deck, which is Asphaloth. When paying for this, we could use any resources that are eligible. Gandalf's resources aren't neutral in this case. They're kind of a wild card. So we're going to pay for Asphaloth and attach it to Glorfindel. This can be attached to a Noldor or Sylvan hero. He's Noldor. And of course, Asphaloth is his horse, and so the action becomes more potent when it's attached to Glorfindel. The new face-up card is going to be a Watchful Peace. And we'll go ahead and spend a resource from Idrine to attach another Miravor to Gandalf. And we're going to save Frodo's resource in case we don't have anything to spend it on anyway, but in case we want to use a response, if an enemy comes out that we don't like, we could just use his response. Let's quest with everybody, including Glorfindel and Idrine. Glorfindel has his typical forced response. After Glorfindel exhausts to commit to a quest, raise your threat by 1. All right, there we go. We reveal Fallen into Evil. Okay, so it says when revealed, attached to a non-fellowship hero. So this is why you have Power of Orthanc, because this could come out round 1. It's never happened to me, but I know in theory it could. So we've improved our odds of winning against the quest. So when revealed, attached to a non-fellowship hero, that would be any of our 3 heroes, and move it to the first player's staging area. This counts as a condition attachment with the text. Attached hero loses the hero card type and gains the enemy card type with threat that is equal to its willpower, and engagement cost equal to its threat cost. If Fallen into Evil is discarded, return attached hero to its owner's control. Okay, so I could cancel this with Frodo Baggins, but I'm just going to go ahead and let it come out. We'll attach it to Idrine, and so she is now an enemy, and she has threat that is equal to her willpower. And so actually, let's just put it here. I can't give her threat. And so we're only making 3 progress, but that's staging, and I've got an action window. During the action window, I will play Power of Orthanc Doom 2. And it says each player may choose and discard a condition attachment from play. And so it says that Fallen into Evil, when it's discarded, return attached hero to its owner's control. So it comes back under our control. Now, I honestly don't know. I've not had it come out, so I've not thought about it until just now. I don't know if she's still committed to the quest. I'm going to say she's not. But her threat is no longer in staging. We made 5 progress. It doesn't really matter in this case, but that's a ruling I'm not really sure on. So if you really care, you could look that up. But we made 5 progress, and we were successful in the quest. Now, I can't use Asphaloth on either of these locations because they're immune to player card effects. During the travel phase, I can't travel to the Argonath because Sarngabir is in play. So let's travel here, and we will ready. And all this time during the quest phase, travel phase, and counter phase, I could have played a Watchful Piece if a location had left play that was worth no victory points. But I could have used Gandalf's once per phase all along the way, but we weren't able to do that with a Watchful Piece. We removed that +1 willpower that was from the Miravor that we used to get Asphaloth into play next round. So why I made all that effort to try to get out Asphaloth is because there are locations that can come out early that we'd like to chip away at with Asphaloth, and so him being out round one could have really helped us, but in this case it did not. Okay, a new face-up card. All right, it's Elrond's Council. And what I'm going to do is during the action window here, I'm going to use Gandalf's once per phase to play this. Just lower my threat by 3. And that way we have a new face-up card. I've drawn an extra card in a way. So onto the planning phase. And I want to play Gandalf's Staff for sure. And so what I'm going to do here is go ahead and spend a resource from Frodo's pool and from Gandalf's pool to use Gandalf's once per phase to play Gandalf's Staff. And obviously that attaches to Gandalf. It's restricted. It's a new card. Came out with this hero Gandalf in The Road Darkens. Action, exhaust Gandalf's Staff to choose one of the following 3 options. Choose a player to draw 1 card, add 1 resource to a hero's resource pool, or discard a shadow card from a non-unique enemy. Okay, so I'm not taking that action at this point, but I have used Gandalf's once per phase. I'm going to indicate that with a time counter just so that I won't wonder, did I do that? So the new face-up card is Ancient Madam. All right, so I've got some cards in hand that I could play. I think it would be good to go ahead and spend 2 resources to attach Unexpected Courage to Gandalf. I don't ever really want to attach. I have 3 copies of Unexpected Courage. 2 go on Gandalf, 1 goes on Idrine. And so what I will do is probably just not quest with Glorfindel for now. Well, actually, I can't engage enemies anyway, so it doesn't matter right now. This is just getting me set up for the future. In case I have a choice, I can exhaust Gandalf's Staff to draw a card. I think I want to. I want to try to get Saruman in my hands, so let's exhaust Gandalf's Staff to draw this Ancient Madam. And we have a new face-up card, and it is a Westfold Horsebreeder. Just 1 resource left that is for Frodo's response potentially, so let's quest. And actually, we do need to quest with Glorfindel, and he boosts our threat by 1 when he exhausts to quest. And now we can remove this time counter because we're in the quest phase, so I could, if I was allowed to play allies, I could play this card. Okay, we reveal River Anduin. It's not an enemy, so I'm not going to worry about using Frodo's response. And some enemies I wouldn't worry about his response too much, but River Anduin is a pretty harmless location. Okay, we made 7 progress, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, 6, 7. So this leaves play, and it says Force. When Sarngabir is explored, deal 1 damage to each exhausted character. And actually, I should have readied Gandalf so that he wouldn't have been damaged. So let's just say that I did that during the action window after he exhausted the quest. So 1 damage on Frodo, 1 on Glorfindel, 1 on Idrine. That leaves play. Now notice it's worth 1 victory point, so I can't play a Watchful Piece. Response: after a location with no victory points leaves play as an explored location, return it to the top of the encounter deck. So we have done our 1 and done. So that leaves play. Idrine does respond. Response: after a location is explored, ready Idrine. So that card is immune to player card effects, but this response is not affecting the card that is immune. It's just a reality that a location left play, and so Idrine is able to respond. So she's ready, and so that's why she just needs 1 copy of Unexpected Courage. Gandalf gets 2. Because of Light of Valinor, Glorfindel doesn't need 1. Okay, so we made our necessary progress. During the travel phase, I can either travel to the Argonath or I can travel to River Anduin. If I leave this in staging, it says at the end of the travel phase, each player at this stage raises his threat by 1. Then River Anduin moves to the staging area to the left, if able. So that's kind of weird, but in this quest later on, there will be, in 4-player, you could have 4 different staging areas, and so this could move between the staging areas. For now, it just stays put because there's not another staging area. So I can travel to the Argonath and just try to clear it in advance, or I could try to clear River Anduin, but let's just travel to the Argonath. And so we've traveled here. It's immune to player card effects, but we can travel because Sarngabir is no longer in play. Let's use Asphaloth's action to put 2 progress on a location. We couldn't put it on the Argonath. It's immune to player card effects, but we can do that to River Anduin. At the end of the travel phase, it says, Forest, each player at this stage raises his threat by 1. And then we would move this to a new staging area, the one to our left, if there was such a thing. Okay, so we will refresh, and we'll move on to the 3rd round. And we drew Westfold Horsebreeder. We have 3 copies of this, mostly to try to get Asphaloth more quickly. He is a mount attachment, and this fetches mount attachments. New face-up card is Westfold Horsebreeder. Let's use Gandalf's staff to actually draw this Westfold Horsebreeder. We're trying to get to Saruman if we can, or other cards that sort of set us up pretty well for the next stage, because an enemy could be coming out here, and we want to be ready for the possibility of an enemy attacking us. So what I'll do here is attach... Well, let's just play Westfold Horsebreeder. And she has a response. After Westfold Horsebreeder enters play, search the top 10 cards of your deck for a mount attachment and add it to your hand. We're looking for a 3rd copy of Asphaloth, and she whiffed. But it allows us to shuffle our deck, and so now we have a new card face up. Okay, cool. It is Saruman. I can't draw it, though. Let's just go ahead and quest with Frodo, with Gandalf, and ready him, with Idrine, and with Westfold Horsebreeder. And I want to leave Glorfindel ready. I won't mind if I wait an extra round to advance, but I'm making 6 progress. It's not going to be enough unless no threat is added. But there is a location worth 3, and so I don't mind if I wait around here. So let's not quest with Glorfindel. And so we reveal Uruk-hai Tracker, which is the enemy I hate. It surges, and I don't like that. So let's use Frodo's response. Spend 1 Fellowship resource and exhaust the 1 ring. So I just did that. To shuffle, or to cancel the effects of an encounter card just revealed, all the effects, including Surge, shuffle that card back into the encounter deck and reveal a new one. So we'll shuffle that back into the encounter deck. New card is Uruk-hai Archer, which I like a little bit better since it doesn't surge. Has a threat of X. X is 1 because it's the number of players in the game. There is a when revealed. Discard an ally you control. So we did lose Westfold Horsebreeder, but she's mostly useless other than the extra. She could be the target of archery damage, or we do get an extra willpower out of her. So we made 4 progress. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So we did not quite clear the Great River. This leaves play. And so it goes to the victory display, but it does ready Idrine. And we will exhaust Asphaloth during the quest phase here, during the action window, to put 2 more progress on River Anduin. During the travel phase, I don't want to travel here yet because I'd like to leave this in stage, and it might be that a location comes out next round. And you'll see why you don't want to. It's good to have 4 threat in staging when you advance, if possible. So I'm going to leave it here and just take this hit. At the end of the travel phase, we raise our threat by 1 because it's in staging. Okay, during the encounter phase, I can't engage Uruk-hai Archer because it says here enemies cannot be engaged. But we do have a combat phase. We skip the encounter phase, actually. During the combat phase, there is an archery window, right before, it's at the beginning of combat before dealing shadow cards. Archery X is 1, so I can put a point of damage on somebody, and I'm going to put that on Idrine. And then we will just ready and move on to round 4, and this is where we'll advance. The top card is Unexpected Courage. Okay, so like I've mentioned, I do want to have a 2 Unexpected Courages out, 1 on Gandalf, 1 on Idrine. At this point, since I have Mirror of War, let's go ahead and use Gandalf's once per phase to play the top card, and Unexpected Courage is good. Let's spend 2 resources from Glorfindel to do that. We've indicated that we've done that once per phase during this planning phase, and we've played Unexpected Courage. Let's attach it to Idrine, just in case we don't want to have to depend on locations leaving play for her to ready. We want to use her attack. So the new face-up card is a Power of Orthanc. So I have a choice here with Gandalf's staff. I can either draw Power of Orthanc, or I can put a resource out. And I think I'd like to put a resource out. Let's exhaust that to put it on just Idrine. And then I think I want to go ahead and 1, 2, let's just put out 2 Ancient Madams. These can be attached to a location in play. Attached to a location. It doesn't have to be the active location. We've attached it to River Anduin. At any point, I can, exhaust Asphaloth to kind of explore River Anduin and to draw 6 cards. So that's really good. You have to think real carefully with this deck. I enjoy this one a lot. Okay, so we want to play Saruman. Let's go ahead and spend both of Frodo's resources and 1 of Gandalf's. I want to hang on to my resource, Gandalf's resource if possible. Doom 3, whenever Saruman enters play. And his response says, after Saruman enters play, choose a non-unique enemy or location in the staging area. While Saruman is in play, the chosen enemy or location is considered to be out of play. So let's push this guy to out of play. So his threat is no longer in staging. And now we'll quest. And if 3, I think 3 is the most, well, we could have that enemy that surges. That's 1. And then if 3 came out, I wouldn't quite clear it. So I'm going to quest with Saruman, I think. Just to be careful, just to be safe. Well, if I get desperate, I could, let's do it. Let's leave him ready. In case an enemy comes out, I might want his attack. And if I get desperate, I could just clear this with Asphaloth. So we reveal Black Feathered Arrows. When revealed, until the end of the round, add 1 to the archery total at this stage for each ally currently at this stage. And so I'm going to go ahead and just do this. There's only 1 ally, and so I'm just going to go ahead and just do this. I'm going to put a archery damage on Saruman because I don't want to have to remember this. But until the end of the round, there would just be +1. Actually, that's not true. We're going to pass this stage. So this stage will no longer have that archery damage. So that's completely innocent. So at this point, I won't have that 4 threat in staging. So let's go ahead during the action window in staging. Let's do this. Let's exhaust Asphaloth to put 2 progress on River Anduin. It leaves play. And when it does, a few things are going to happen. First of all, there's this response, and there's a response here. So I can do them in any order. So let's do Idrine's response first. This leaves play. Idrine will ready. Oops. In response, Idrine readies. And then River Anduin leaves play. And in response, I can't play. I used up all my spirit resources, so I can't play Watchful Peace. Wait. I draw 3 cards. 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3. I drew 6 total cards. So, it's easy to make little mistakes like I just made. I should have had a resource for a Watchful Piece, but, it's kind of a brain burner. So I wasn't able to do this response, but I did do Adrines, and I did the Ancient Matham card draw, which is super nice. New face-up card is a Watchful Piece. Well, actually, I can't afford it. That's the problem. No, I can. Let's use Gandalf. So all this happened. So we drew... her response was first. You do them in any order. The Ancient Mathams did their thing. And then I have a face-up card. And, I had a resource on Gandalf. Gandalf can use his resource to pay for this. A Watchful Piece response. After a location worth no victory points leaves play as an explored location, return it to the top of the encounter deck. So I did that response. So again, Idrine readied. Ancient Matham drew 6 cards. And then, then in response, I was able to use Gandalf's resource to pay for this card that was on top of my deck. I had not done that during the quest phase. His time counter was from the last planning phase. That's pretty cool. So we made 10 progress. We're at 20. A little bit of overkill. Players cannot advance while the Argonath is in play, so we advance to the Company Divided. The river has carried the company as far as it can, and the time has come for Frodo to choose which way to go. He asks for an hour to decide, but after he disappears, orcs are discovered prowling the woods, and the company scatters to find him. When revealed, remove the ring bearer and each card attached to it from the game. Now, it's a little bit of a problem because this says the one ring leaves play. If it does, the players lose the game. But this text says, treat the one ring's text as blank while resolving this effect. The nice thing is, Frodo will come back later, but he leaves play with his attachments, but any tokens on him leave play, so his damage is sort of healed. When he comes back, he won't be damaged anymore. He would lose any resources, any tokens on him. Reduce each enemy's engagement cost to 0 until the end of the encounter phase. So we actually have an encounter phase at this stage, but we will skip the travel phase. So we are done with the quest phase. We go on to we skip the travel phase altogether, and now we go to the encounter phase. If we were in the encounter phase, if there were any enemies here, their engagement cost is treated as 0. But we don't have any enemies. But what I will do is during one of the action windows, let's use Seeing Stone Doomed 1 to search our deck, and let's just fish out our third Saruman. And we'll shuffle the deck, and so that means our new face-up card is Gandalf's Staff. I was thinking maybe it would be an Elrond's Council or something. I like to just draw the cards. Okay, so nothing to encounter during the combat phase. There's no archery because this put the archery, it says add 1 to the archery total at this stage for each ally currently at this stage. And so even if it's true that the archery applies, Saruman is just damaged for 1, so it doesn't really matter. But maybe a little bit of a hesitation that I'm right on that, but I think I am because we're not at this stage anymore. Okay, so we are done with combat. There's nothing to combat because this guy's out of play. So we refresh. And it says here force at the end of the refresh phase. So again, Saruman is not left play. He leaves at the end of the round. At the end of the round, discard Saruman. End of the refresh phase, we have to fire this force effect. At the end of the refresh phase, shuffle Seat of Seeing and Frodo's Choice into the encounter discard pile. So here's Frodo's Choice. Here's Seat of Seeing. Parthgalen stays set aside for now. So we shuffle this into the encounter discard pile. Let's just look here, and these 4 cards now are face down and shuffled. And then it says place the encounter discard pile on the bottom of the encounter deck. So we'll move this to the encounter deck on the bottom. So in those final 4 cards, we have Frodo's Choice. Now, starting with the first player, that's us, each player creates his own staging area and advances to a different stage 3A of his choice. Okay, so if you're playing multiplayer, this forced effect is firing all the enemies and all the cards that are in the staging area stay there. But then each player makes a choice. Let's go to the quest deck. Each player chooses one of the 3 A's. So it's a little bit maybe like Foundations of Stone, but the one we're going to choose is Seat of Amon Hen. The others in solo we will just delete. We're not going to go to them. So we're just going to delete them. And so what I'll actually do here is put it back on the quest deck. So starting with the first player, each player creates his own staging area. So let's just say that our new staging area is the Seat of Amon Hen, which I'll bring into play in just a second. Then in player order, each player moves 1 encounter card from this staging area, from the company divided, to the staging area that belongs to him. So if I am now at the Seat of Amon Hen, I'm the first player, I take the first card and add it. We go around and then we just keep going until it says, when there are no encounter cards left at the stage, discard it. So we're just going to discard the company divided, and we're now at the Seat of Amon Hen. And this is kind of cool. This guy did not make the transfer over to the Seat of Amon Hen. He's out of play because of Saruman, so he just sort of doesn't go in the encounter discard pile. He sort of stays in this weird out of play dimension, so he just is deleted. He's gone. He won't ever be able to come back into the encounter deck. So a Saruman cheat there, kind of cool. So the Seat of Amon Hen says, I am going to the top, to the Seat of Amon Hen to see what may be seen. And look, it is as my heart guessed. Frodo went this way. Follow me and keep your eyes open. Aragorn from the Fellowship of the Ring. The force effect says after stage 2B is discarded, if the total threat of encounter cards in the staging area is less than 4, reveal 1 encounter card. Remember a little while ago I was trying not to travel to that location, I think it was called Banks of the Anduin, I think, or Shores of the Anduin, I forget, but because I was hoping that another location would come out and then we'd have 4 threat. And so I wouldn't have to reveal this card. But we know what the card's going to be. It's the River Anduin. That's what it's called. We put it back on top of the deck. And so this is that location control piece. We're trying to avoid enemies altogether. Through Frodo initially, through Saruman, pushing them away with his response, his response. And so we are doing our location thing. We're still here at the end of the refresh phase all this while, and we'll look at this more in depth next round. But now at the end of the round, Saruman leaves play, and somewhere in another dimension, a Uruk-hai archer is confused. Okay, so next round. And so we draw a Gandalf staff. The face-up card is Shadow of the Past, which I can't play because there's nothing in the discard pile. So a watchful piece becomes a lot less helpful for this stage, but it's really helpful during the first stage or stage 2, like we just discovered. And Saruman, now a Shadow of the Past is more helpful for stage 3. So let's look at stage 3. Because we can't do anything during the resource phase. We're in planning now. There's a response. When we quest successfully, before placing progress, you determine you've quested successfully. When doing that, after you've quested successfully, choose a player. That player draws 2 cards and lowers his threat by 2. So you can see we're at 42, but we're not worried because of this. There's a force effect. After Frodo's choice is revealed, at this stage, advance to stage 4A. So it's in the bottom of the deck. So how we get to it is a lot like Hunt for Gollum, or that 3 trials trial of intuition, I think. If Frodo's choice is not in play, anytime players would place progress on this quest, discard an equal number of cards from the encounter deck instead. So we just want to make progress here. We're in planning, and let's just think about what we want to do. We'll exhaust Asphaloth to place 2 progress. We didn't have an action window. When this was revealed, it was the end of the refresh phase, and so we weren't able to use Asphaloth. Well, we used it last round anyway. Okay, well, let's wait on the Asphaloth thing, because there might be another location I'd rather Asphaloth. I don't have a whole lot of resources, and I have a bunch of cards I could play, so let's use Gandalf's Staff to give Glorfindel a resource. Let's put out a copy of Thor's Key in case a location comes out that we don't like. And then we will just thinking what I want to do. I can't play Gandalf's Staff. Don't want to play Saruman. I mean, I could put out Saruman and push this to out of play. It'll come back, but that just gives me more attack power because Glorfindel's, doesn't have Light of Valinor yet. Let me think through that. Let's go ahead and play, I think, Bilbo. So we play him from hand, and it says response. After Bilbo Baggins enters play, search your deck for a pipe attachment and add it to your hand. Now, if I were to search my deck, I haven't got it yet. So, yeah, let's do that. Let's grab our single copy of Wizard Pipe. And here it is. I just have one copy because I feel like Bilbo's more useful. 3 copies of him allows us to get the one Wizard Pipe very easily. And so I have a Wizard Pipe here. It's a new card. And I want to go ahead and spend Gandalf's resource to pay for it. So we spent all of our resources. Gandalf's Pipe, we can attach to an Istari character. And it says, action, exhaust Wizard Pipe to exchange a card in your hand with the top card of your deck. The face-up card is now Power of Orthanc. All right. There's not a reason to exchange cards. Let's quest with Gandalf, with Idrine, with Bilbo, and also with Glorfindel, I think. No, let's leave him ready. Yeah, we'll leave him ready just in case there's an enemy that comes out that we could destroy only if Glorfindel were ready to attack. So we reveal River Anduin. Okay, so we have 2 of these. And so we made 3 progress. 1, 2, 3. Now, before actually placing the progress, you determine if you've quested successfully, and we have. And so because we've quested successfully, we draw 2 cards, and we lower our threat by 2. So we're down to 42. And now we place 3 progress. And instead of placing progress, you just discard an equal amount of encounter cards on our way to try to find Frodo's choice. So that's that enemy that I said we would need Glorfindel ready for, Uruk-hai Captain, but it's just discarded in order. So Orcs of the White Hand is the top card on the discard pile. Okay, during the travel phase, we'll travel here to River Anduin. And it says this one says while River Anduin is in the staging area, it gains a forced effect. At the end of the travel phase, each player at this stage raises his threat by 1. And so we're back up to 41. Let's use Asphaloth to we'll put the progress on the actual active location more than this one because it takes a little while to get to the 5 progress. With Asphaloth, it would take 3 Asphalothines, as they say. Okay, the top card is Shadow of the Past. I don't have any resources, so I can't play it yet. All right, refresh, and next round. Okay, so I've drawn a Shadow of the Past. The new top card is Thror's Key, which I have a Thror's Key out, so I don't need it. All right, I wouldn't mind controlling the situation a little bit here, so let's moving forward, we're going to use Gandalf's Staff to put out resources. We're going to put a resource on to Idrine. We're going to use Glorfindel and Idrine's resource to pay for Shadow of the Past action. Move the top card of the encounter discard pile to the top of the encounter deck. And so we're moving this card to the top of the encounter deck. It is Orcs of the White Hand. We're just controlling everything as best we can. And then we'll use Wizard Pipe to switch a card out with this card. So it tells us Wizard Pipe says exhaust Wizard Pipe to exchange a card in your hand with the top card of your deck. So we're going to put Limbos on top of the deck. That means that I can do my Gandalf once per phase. We're in planning here, of course, to pay for Limbos. It says play only if you control a Noldor or Sylvan hero. We control Glorfindel. And so it says attach to a hero, discard Limbos to ready attached hero, and heal 3 damage from it. So I'm not really worried about Idrine anymore. For this purpose, we only need just one copy of Unexpected Courage. We won't be putting a lot of damage on her. Any damage will go on Gandalf, and we could heal him and or ready him. So he has a lot of readying with Miravor, with Unexpected Courage, with Limbas. So we've done our once per phase during the planning phase. The top card is now Light of Valinor, finally. Can't draw it though, so next round, finally, Glorfindel will have Light of Valinor. We will go ahead and quest, including with Glorfindel, and we'll go ahead and exhaust Asphaloth to put, well, let's keep our threat low. We'll leave Glorfindel ready. We don't need to make too much progress here. So we use Asphaloth to put 2 progress on River Anduin. And again, we'll just not quest with Glorfindel, and just keeps our threat a little bit lower. We reveal Orcs of the White Hand. When revealed, remove all damage from each enemy at this stage. And there's no enemies, so that just is discarded. We made 5 progress. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, we actually determined that we quested successfully before we placed progress. So in response to questing successfully, we draw 2 cards and lower our threat by 2. That's always first. And then we place the progress. And so in doing that, River Anduin is discarded and Idrine readies. Now I don't want to play a Watchful Peace, because if I do, I put this back on top of the deck. And then I place progress on Seat of Amon Hen, and it says if Frodo's choice is not in play, anytime players would place progress on this quest, discard an equal number of cards from the encounter deck instead. So that's 4 cards discarded. And so they're discarded in order. And so I don't want to use a Shadow of the Past if I happen to get one to bring Uruk-hai Archer into play. All right, so we did all that during the travel phase. We will travel to River Anduin just to keep from raising our threat by 1. And the top card is Ancient Matham, refresh. And next round. Top card is Unexpected Courage. Okay, during the planning phase, let's exhaust Gandalf's staff to put a resource on Idrine. We will use Gandalf's once per phase action to pay for Unexpected Courage. Our 3rd copy, that's going to go on to Gandalf. And then I'm going to pay out of my hand for Light of Valinor. So everybody's set up with all 3 Unexpected Courages and Light of Valinor. And so now it's just about Limbas and even Miravor if I needed some further readying effects. I don't want to use Wizard Pipe at this point because I'd like to play Elrond's Council during the next phase. I think I'd like to... Well, I can't use Watchful Peace anyway. So let's use rather Ancient Matham. We'll attach that to River Anduin. That way we could draw into a Shadow of the Past. Okay, so we move on to the quest phase. And we'll play the once per phase top card, Elrond's Council, lowering our threat by 3, and boosting, we'll say, Idrine's willpower. And so I've indicated that I've done that with Gandalf. And now I quest. And now Glorfindel is not exhausted quest moving forward. Let's ready Gandalf. But we won't ready Idrine because Unexpected Courage, we could use it later. She could respond by just clearing River Anduin. And we reveal Wooded Shoreline. And we will do this. Thor's Key. It says response. After a location is added to the staging area, attach Thor's Key to that location. And this blanks out this text entirely. So no archery, no travel effect. And I will use Asphaloth to actually put 2 progress on Wooded Shoreline. We made 5 progress, so 5 and 1, 2, 3. But again, we quested successfully. We draw 2 cards and lower our threat by 2. And now we place progress. So that's going to leave play. And we draw 3 cards because of Ancient Matham. new face-up card is Elrond's Council. And Idrine readied in response, and I don't want to play a Watchful Piece. And so I made 3 progress. I discarded 3 cards. 1, 2, 3. All right, so as you can see, I don't mind taking my time. I want to spend a little time if I can here and lower my threat and be ready for stage 4. Okay, during the travel phase, I think we've done everything there. We did our once per phase thing. During the travel phase, I will travel now to Wooded Shoreline, and there's no travel effect thanks to Thor's Key. And I don't want to use, if I have a Shadow of the Past, I don't want to bring Growing Threat back in. So that's just going to stay put. We will refresh. Now I have Wizard Pipe, so I could. There's no reason to. At this point, I'm about to draw my entire hand, so I'm about to be a little less picky with all that. But it's really fun, playing with Gandalf the way he plays. He's sort of counts as card draw. Okay, again, I want to just continue to control things, not have enemies come out. Although it's not the end of the world if enemies come out because we're ready now. But I still want locations more than enemies and stuff. So what I could do is just make Wooded Shoreline come out again. So let's exhaust Asphaloth to put 2 progress on Wooded Shoreline. And it leaves play. And so does Thor's Key. And in response, I will play a Watchful Piece. And that left play as an Explore location is back on top of the deck. I know exactly what's coming out. Pretty fun stuff. All right, I don't want to keep raising my threat, so Seeing Stone's not necessary anymore. I've already gotten my other 2 copies of Saruman. I don't need another Limboss, but I could... Well, let's do this. Let's play Thor's Key because that location that's coming out is one that we want to blank out. All right, so Gandalf's Staff. Let's put a resource on Glorfindel. And we'll use that resource to play Warden of Arnor. Now, I've not used this ever, and it's not a card I use a whole lot, but it helps with this quest because it says attached to a scout hero. She is a scout hero. While attached character is committed to the quest, place 1 progress on the first location revealed by the encounter deck each round. And so that would soften up that 5 progress location now has a progress, and then 2 Asphaloth clears it. And there's a 3 progress location that I can clear with this and Asphaloth. And so it's helpful, although it's not necessary, but we'll try to get moving a little quickly here. I don't need to, any cards that I want to... I guess I should have used Wizard Pipe to draw this into my hand, and then I put Warden of Arnor on top of the deck and played it from there. And so just drawing some further cards. Nothing really left to do, so we will quest and reveal Wooded Shoreline. And so Warden of Arnor puts a progress on Wooded Shoreline. Thor's Key blanks out Wooded Shoreline. And we made 7 progress. We quested successfully. Threat goes down by 2. We draw 2 cards. And the face-up card is Asphaloth. Okay, we made 7 progress. And so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We discard 7 cards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, cool. The top card is a Wooded Shoreline. That's good. We'll travel here to Wooded Shoreline. And refresh. Next round. So, we'll end the game pretty soon here. Okay, nothing that I really want to play during the refresh, the resource phase, so I'm not really worried about Gandalf's once per round thing anymore. All right, so I could put Wooded Shoreline into play, but I don't love it that I can't clear it. I can't have another Thor's Key, so I'm just going to let that be. If an enemy comes out, that's fine. because I really don't want to have to deal with the travel effect. So what I'll do is let's use Gandalf's once per phase thing to attach another Limbos to him. You can have multiple out, so he's a readying machine. Let's use Gandalf's staff to put a resource on Glorfindel. And I can't have another copy of Thor's Key out, and I don't want to put out my Westfold Horse Breeders yet. So let's quest. And it could be that, an enemy's coming here. Let's see what we get. It is an enemy. Uruk High Archer. When revealed, discard an ally you control. So we discard Bilbo. And we'll exhaust Asphalt to put 2 progress on Wooded Shoreline. And we made, we quested successfully. Threat goes down by 2. We draw 2 cards. Face-up card is Light of Valinor. Okay, so we make 7 progress. 1 and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. No, 6. So this leaves play. Idrine readies. And I don't want to use Watchful Peace because I'm about to do the discard thing. So I discard the top 7. And none of them are Frodo's choice. So next round we'll move on. And so now we will optionally engage Uruk High Archer. We'll ready Gandalf. We have a point of archery. We'll put it on to, let's just put it on to Idrine now. And so he attacks for 4. We defend with Gandalf 4 against 3. Attacking enemy gets +1, +2 if the defending character has fewer printed hit points than the attacking enemy. So that's going to be 5 against 3. That's 2 damage on Gandalf. Then we'll ready him, and we can attack for 9, which is plenty. Now, Uruk High Archer has toughness 1. That just means, this would be 9 attack, minus the 1 for defense, and then toughness just lowers the damage. It's almost like, sort of like armor, but not quite. But he leaves play. And we will do it in this order. We'll let Black Feathered Arrow be on top. And we'll refresh and move on to the next round. We're about to advance. And we've drawn our entire hand. Let's go ahead and bring this back. So let's use Gandalf's resources to pay for a Shadow of the Past, which says action, move the top card of the encountered discard pile to the top of the encountered deck. So that's our new card that we'll have. We know what's coming. Let's play Bilbo. And we can't search our deck anymore. And we'll also go ahead and we'll wait a little bit. So we have 1 more copy of Bilbo. We don't need to play more Miravors. I guess we could. Let's attach a Miravor to a second Miravor to Gandalf. Okay, we will quest and make plenty of progress. We reveal Black Feathered Arrow. It says until the end of the round, add 1 to the archery total at this stage for each ally currently at the stage. I have 1, but again, we're about to move on past this stage. Threat goes down by 2 in response. We draw 2 cards, can't do it. Now we place 10 progress, meaning we discard these 2 cards, and one of them is Frodo's Choice. And it says, Frodo's Choice says, if it's discarded, reveal it instead. So Frodo's Choice is discarded. And it says, when revealed, take control of the first player token and the ring bearer, and each card attached to it. So here is Frodo, and the ring comes with him. And this attaches to Frodo, and it tells us moving forward that we cannot lose the first player token. So we're the first player. Frodo went with us, I guess, is kind of what this is. Oh yeah, Gandalf's staff puts a resource on Glorfindel. Now, any damage or any tokens leave play with Bilbo or Frodo, but he also, the 1 ring stays attached to him. Any attachments stay attached. Okay, so we've made, it says, if after Frodo's Choice is revealed, at this stage, advance to stage 4A. So we're at the final stage, finally. The ring bearers sets out. Now, Sam, said Frodo, don't hinder me. The others will be coming back at any minute. If they catch me here, I shall have to argue and explain, and I shall never have the heart or the chance to get off. but I must go away at once. It's the only way, the Fellowship of the Ring. When revealed, add Parth Galen to the staging area. Here's Parth Galen. And if it is your quest phase, in the quest phase. So we go straight to travel. Oops, didn't mean to draw a card. Well, I couldn't anyway. During the quest phase, reveal one additional encounter card. There's a response where if an enemy is revealed, we can raise our threat equal to that enemy's threat to just immediately engage it once per round. When we defeat the stage, we win the game. During the travel phase, we'll travel to Parth Galen, and it's immune to player card effects. To travel here, though, we have to search the encounter deck and discard pile for an enemy and add it to the staging area. Shuffle the encounter deck. So this is not going to be an enemy that is revealed, so I can do anything. Let's just do one. I think I guess this would be the best way to do it would be, where's it at? This guy. So he is added to the staging area, and now during the encounter phase, he engages us, and he wants to get a shadow card, but there aren't any. He does a point of damage, archery damage. We'll put that on Gandalf, and then we'll ready Gandalf with Limbos, which readies him and heals him. Then we'll defend with Gandalf 3 against 3. Gandalf blocks that. We attack for 6 with Glorfindel and with Idrine, and so we make the necessary progress. We refresh and move on to the next round. All right, so we will play 1, 2, 3. Let's play Saruman, Doom 3, and there's no card in staging to push out. Let's put out the Westfold Horse Breeders. We just put out all of our allies that we can, and we will quest with everybody. Gandalf's staff to put a resource on Glorfindel. And we reveal Uruk-hai Captain. There's 2 cards that are going to be revealed. One is Uruk-hai Captain, and we just don't like the Surging guy. And then we reveal Orcs of the White Hand. When revealed, remove all damage from each enemy at this stage. Each enemy at this stage gets +1 threat, attack, and defense. Now there's a response here. After an enemy is revealed at this stage, raise your threat by X to engage that enemy. I definitely would have done this. I should have thought about that. So I want to raise my threat by X, which at the time, the X is the enemy's threat. It was 3. So I raised my threat by 3 just to get rid of this threat so it engages me. And then this came out, and so actually we removed each enemy at the stage gets +1 attack, defense, and all that. So he's getting all that, but he's not contributing his threat to staging. Let's play Elrond's Council to lower our threat by 3 and boost our willpower. So not quite enough. 16 + 4 is 20, but here's what I can do. I can play Miravor, discard it to ready Gandalf, and give him a willpower until the end of the round. Then I'll discard this one to add a resource to Gandalf's pool and give him a willpower until the end of the round. And so I've made 20 progress. That's 4 and 16. And there you go. When the stage is defeated, the players win the game. This goes to the victory display. While Parth Galen is in play, you can't win. And so we've made, it was actually exactly 16 progress. So we won the quest and did it in 11 rounds. Usually I do it in 10, but stage 3 took just a little bit longer. But I think it's a fun way to play the game. We did a lot of, there are just so many choices as you go, and there's a lot of tools. So real briefly, we see what Bilbo's for. He's for grabbing Wizard Pipe. Saruman is really helpful when you advance from stage 1 to just push that enemy into the nether. and then just later on, he's good for controlling the staging area if we need a little bit of help there. But furthermore, we can just use him for questing, which we just did. He's also good for attack if we have a bunch of enemies. Westfold Horse Breeder can be helpful, but mostly just for getting Asphaloth. The mixture of Asphaloth and Warden of Arnor, we never saw it, but that's 3 progress that we can place on a particular location that's worth 3 progress. And so you can just clear it. If you kept cycling that one over and over again, that's kind of cool to have that combo. Ancient Matham is just great in this quest in a location control deck. Gandalf Staff's so versatile. Limbos for the healing that we need and just for readying. And you can see how really cool Miravor is in this quest. Like, I was struggling with this deck until I finally added Miravor, and then it just unlocked it. Everything became just super smooth. And I just feel like the deck really does well. It's just one that you don't just play the same every single time. We have the ability to cancel an early, what is that called? The Fallen into Evil, which we got to see round 1. Wizard Pipe's so cool. It sets up Gandalf really well. We only need 1 in this quest. And so Bilbo's more helpful for discarding to that When Revealed effect from the Uruk-hai Archer. And he's also just some nice damage soak in case we have archery. And that's it. We won the game. I think we saw all the enemies. We saw the big bad here. You have to attack him for... So since he has toughness 2, it's like you have to attack him for 7. And so Glorfindel and Idrine aren't enough. And so he can be a little bit of a problem if you get him early. But if you get him early, he's a great target for Saruman before you move on. It's great to push this guy into that alternate dimension. No treachery is really worth mentioning other than Fallen into Evil. This one actually is not so bad. You can use it. This one here. Both of these are great for Shadow of the Past in solo. These locations, none of them are so bad. There's that one that Warden of Arnor and Asphaloth eats for breakfast. Again, Warden of Arnor makes it where 2 Asphaloths clears River Anduin, so that's pretty cool. But mostly we have Warden of Arnor for Slopes of Amon Hen. And this is the best location for you really want to try to get Thor's Key onto Wooded Shoreline. We never saw this enemy, but when revealed, he makes an immediate attack. You don't ever want to reveal another card. And then this Uruk-hai Tracker surges. There have been playthroughs where I had 2 and then maybe come out in a surge train, and that can be a little bit of a problem, but not much of one. But that is it. That's the quest. Hope you enjoyed the playthrough. I just feel like that's probably the most fun deck I've built. I like it, and I want to try to keep pushing the envelope a little bit in terms of creativity and not just always use Beravor, as great as she is. And sometimes it just makes sense. Like, okay, just beat the quest in 3 rounds if you can. But I just really enjoyed playing through this quest in this odd way, just trying to negate the Uruk-hai altogether. And man, I forgot to mention, Frodo makes it possible with his response. That's really helpful when he's in play. At some point he's not, but you can just decide, nope, I don't want that if I can help it. And so the chances of getting a real problematic card become a lot less with him. So he's the right one to include of the 2 Frodos. Well, that's the quest. Hope you enjoyed it again, and I hope that you will join me again next time. Thanks, and have a great day. Bye.